Tell me how you came to acquire these very large and heavy pieces.
We took possession of the Farwell building in 2015, 100 years after it was built. The three main lobby glass tile domes were Louis Tiffany. They were in severe disrepair. They were not restorable, so we ended up removing all those domes and rebuilding them completely. The building had been vacant for 35 years or so. Lots of things were destroyed and stolen. So we rebuilt the ceilings completely, and these are the remnants of what was there.
Louis Comfort Tiffany's fascination with mosaic art began in the late 1880s, inspired by his travels through Italy and the Middle East, where he studied the luminous beauty of Byzantine and Roman mosaics. By the 1890s, the Tiffany Glass and Decorating Company had begun producing mosaics for interiors, churches, and custom architectural commissions, each one a showcase of color, texture, and light. When the company was reorganized as Tiffany Studios in 1902, mosaic work became one of its most prestigious and artistically ambitious divisions. These mosaics were crafted from Favril glass, Tiffany's patented iridescent glass, with each tiny piece hand-cut from sheets chosen for their subtle variations in hue, texture, and translucency. Today, Tiffany mosaics from around 1915 are celebrated for their extraordinary craftsmanship and their shimmering, ethereal beauty, a perfect fusion of art and light.
Unusual for a mosaic installation like this. You have any idea of value?
We have some vague notions without much basis.
Well, at retail, I would say probably 15 to 25 on these two. This one, I would say more like 15,000 to 20,000. This one, I would say 30 to 40,000.
Wow, that's incredible.
30 to 40,000 on that, and I would say 30 to 40,000 on that. And that's the top end price.
Sure.
Were they to be sold.
Excellent. Wow. That's great. That's great news.
This lamp was bought new by my grandfather's uncle. I would guess sometime before World War I. He liked the lamps with the tulips, but he wanted one with more tulips than the regular tulip shades that they had. So he special ordered a shade with more tulips than the regular tulip lampshade. So he bought this lamp brand new from the Tiffany counter at Marshall Field in Chicago. The price was $125 for the base, $250 for the standard shade, plus $125 for the special work on the shade, for a total of $500 for the lamp when he bought it new.
And how long ago did it come to you?
1995.
Influenced by the arts and crafts ideal that true beauty should come from nature, Tiffany's designers often found their inspiration right outside, in gardens, meadows, and wildflower fields. The tulip lamp, one of Tiffany's most beloved designs, draws directly from the tulip itself. Its gracefully curved petals and luminous hues made it the perfect subject for glasswork that captures the delicate interplay of color and light. Each shade was crafted from hundreds of individually hand-cut pieces of Favril glass, Tiffany's patented iridescent glass, famous for its rich, flowing colors. The petals range from deep crimson and amber to soft pinks and greens, coming together like a field of tulips in full bloom. The shade rests on a beautifully cast bronze base, often decorated with natural motifs, stems, leaves, or budding flowers. In this early 20th century example, the base takes the form of a single elegant stem, complete with its original natural patina. Even more remarkable, every component of this lamp, from the cap and shade to the base, is entirely original, which is an incredible rarity today.
Bases and shades, they go through several pairs of hands and people mix and match, and that's okay because at the time at Tiffany Studios, you actually got to pick your shade and base in most cases. Yeah. So you could mix and match because Tiffany recognized that people had different budgets and different tastes. But it's still great when you get to see something that's been together all this time. In terms of value, at auction, An estimate for this would be between $150,000 and $200,000.
Okay.
Now, in a retail shop, and for insurance purposes, I would put a value of $375,000 on it.
Okay.
So thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you.
My grandma was a big collector of glass. She used to live up in Boston, used to shop around at the Cape, go to antique stores and collect glass. That was like her thing. And she actually has 8 of these. My aunt has 4 and we have 4. And she didn't really remember exactly how she got them, but she always was collecting glass.
And did she ever tell you what they were?
No, she couldn't really say. One day I was looking at a book and there was a picture. It didn't say a price, it just said Otto Prutscher wine glass or goblet. And so I was like, well, these might be valuable, I'll bring these in.
Otto Prutscher was an Austrian architect and designer and a proud member of the Wiener Werkstätte, an influential design collective that aimed to unite fine art, architecture, and craftsmanship into one harmonious vision. Prutscher truly embodied the group's philosophy of Gesamtkunstwerk, the total work of art. To him, even everyday objects like goblets could become works of modern beauty and balance. His goblet designs were brought to life by the Austrian firm Bakalowitz and Söhne, known for their incredible technical precision. Each one was hand-blown, then carefully cut or engraved, often featuring geometric or nature-inspired patterns that perfectly captured the spirit of early modern design. What really makes these pieces stand out are their stunning colors. Each goblet features 2 tones, a bold hue on the outside and a softer shade within. Achieving that layered effect took remarkable skill and control, showcasing just how advanced Prutscher's craftsmanship truly was. Today, surviving goblets by Otto Prutscher and Bakalowitz and Söhne are treasures, celebrated by collectors and museums for their elegance, refinement, and lasting influence on modern design.
And you had to actually cut away after the glass was made to make these designs, and it's very painstaking to accomplish this.
So he didn't make it, he just designed it and then somebody else?
He designed it, and then Bakowitz, which was a very fine firm, the technicians were very skillful, made these. They're really quite rare.
Oh, really?
And they're unsigned. I've seen them at a number of shows, and they have been selling for anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 each.
Each?
Yes.
Wow.
Each. Thank you for bringing them.
Thank you. I'll keep the cat away from them. Thank you.
Yes.
This piece was actually done by J&L Lobmeyr.
Founded in 1823 by Joseph Lobmeyr, the firm J&L Lobmeyr quickly rose to become one of Europe's most distinguished glassmakers. By the mid-19th century, under the direction of Ludwig Lobmeyr, the company had evolved as into a center of design excellence and a favored supplier to European royalty, including the Austro-Hungarian imperial court. Lobmeyr was far more than a manufacturer. He was a visionary collaborator. He worked closely with some of the most influential designers and architects of his time, including Joseph Hoffmann, Otto Prutscher, and later, other members of the Wiener Werkstätte. The firm's vases were made from delicate, hand-blown crystal of remarkable clarity and lightness, often enriched with intricate enamel decoration and gilding inspired by Renaissance, Islamic, or Baroque motifs. The vase displayed here exemplifies that mastery. Its handle reflects a Persian-inspired elegance, while the surface is adorned with elaborate floral and geometric patterns interwoven with depictions of giraffes and storks. Each Lobmeyr creation represented a harmonious blend of meticulous craftsmanship and artistic innovation, objects not made for everyday use, but rather to be admired as works of art in salons and world expositions.
The icing on the cake on this piece is the fact that instead of having just flowers and geometric designs, you have the giraffes and the storks. In a retail store, I would put a value of, conservatively, $20,000 to $30,000 on this piece.
Thank you very much.
I got it from my mother's family probably 30 years ago. I really know nothing about it.
What have you been doing with it all these years?
Sitting in a curio cabinet just so my children and grandchildren wouldn't break it because I like it. It's just unusual.
Well, I'm glad you kept it safe because it is a piece of Tiffany glass.
The cypriote glass line was introduced by Tiffany Studios in the early 1920s, near the close of the firm's creative peak. Its name, cypriote, was chosen to evoke the ancient glass vessels unearthed in Cyprus, connecting Tiffany's work to classical history. Tiffany sought to replicate the natural iridescence and weathered textures that Roman glass developed over centuries underground. Unlike the glossy opalescence of Favrile glass, cypriote glass is distinguished by its matte, pitted surface and earthy, subtle shimmer. Each piece was hand-blown, with metallic oxides and controlled heating used to create a surface that appears aged and encrusted. The result is a richly tactile finish, mottled, crusted, and softly glowing in greens, blues, ambers, and golds, as seen here. Today, Tiffany cypriote glass vases are highly prized for their nuanced textures, complex surfaces, and rarity as late-period Tiffany masterpieces.
Numbers are usually accompanied with a prefix letter or a suffix letter. This has a suffix letter P, which indicates that the piece was made between 1926 and 1929. It is rare and it is desirable because people like red glass, and now you have a red cypriote glass, which makes it even more exciting. In today's market, something like this would be $25,000 in a retail store.
Oh, Lord. Maybe I better insure it.
That's probably an excellent idea.
This was my grandfather's lamp, and there was 3, but the other 2 were lost in a fire.
This striking example of American Art Nouveau lighting was produced by the Duffner and Kimberly Company circa 1905. Established to rival Tiffany, the firm crafted leaded glass lamps, shades, and decorative lighting that combined exceptional craftsmanship with artistic vision. Duffner and Kimberly lamps are celebrated for their bold colors, intricate glasswork, and dynamic figural designs, often inspired by mythological or exotic themes. In this example, known as the dragon pattern lamp, their artistry is fully realized in the hand-cut and meticulously assembled leaded glass shade, complemented by a patinated bronze base featuring a dragon motif that echoes and enhances the design of the shade.
This lamp, not too long ago, was in the $50,000 retail range. We've come down a little bit to about $35,000.
Okay.
Still a pretty nice lamp.
Yes.
These were perfume bottles that were collected by my mother. I believe that she was given several as gifts from her mother, and they just are items that I have grown up with.
Bohemian glassmaking traces its roots to the 16th century, but by the 1920s and 1930s, companies such as Moser, Egerman, and other local ateliers were producing perfume bottles for both European and international markets. These bottles were often commissioned by perfume houses or sold as collectible luxury items designed to rival French and English competitors. The Bohemian perfume bottles shown here are cut with geometric Art Deco motifs and feature colorful overlays, each paired with a matching stopper. Among this collection are bottles produced by Rene Lalique, a renowned jewelry designer who transitioned into glassmaking. Lalique gained international acclaim for creating perfume bottles, vases, and decorative objects that combined sculptural elegance with practical design. His perfume bottles are distinguished by frosted or clear molded glass, intricate relief motifs, and naturalistic designs, including flowers, animals, and nymphs, reflecting his enduring fascination with the natural world. Additionally, Lalique's stoppers are meticulously sculpted in matching glass to complement each bottle's decoration, as beautifully exemplified in this collection.
It has brambles in the ears. So it has these ears on it. It's exquisitely made in a way that Lalique kind of experimented with when he was an early glassmaker. It's actually quite complicated. The bottle itself is forced into a mold by pressing it down. without the bottom being on it. Then the bottom is separately cast and stuck on. It's really the only way you could make a piece of glass that looks like this, and Rene Lalique figured it out. He was a brilliant technician as well as a great designer. If this came to auction, I would estimate it to sell for between $30,000 and $40,000.
Oh my gosh.
Lalique perfume bottles are very high in demand, and this particular one, unlike this one, is very low in supply.
Okay.
I've only ever seen 2 other of this example.
Wow.
I brought this Tiffany vase. It belonged to my mother. She collected antiques for many years, and this was one of her first pieces of Tiffany. She bought it sometime in the 1970s.
By the mid-1890s, Louis Comfort Tiffany had fully developed his Favril glass technique, patented in 1894. This method allowed him to create iridescent, hand-blown glass with color embedded directly in the molten material rather than applied afterward. This innovation distinguished Tiffany from other glass makers, enabling uniquely luminous, organic effects reminiscent of nature. During this period, vases were produced in Favrel glass, featuring iridescent surface colors that ranged from golds and greens to blues and purples. In this example, Tiffany's mastery is evident in the organic, hand-formed double gourd shape and its shimmering iridescent decoration. Tiffany glass vases are considered early masterpieces of American Art Nouveau and are held in major museums such as the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Corning Museum of Glass.
Have you ever had it appraised, or did your mother ever update anything on this?
My mother had it appraised in the early 1980s for $3,500.
There are now more and more collectors who really want to specialize in just the early pieces, particularly from the 1890s. So the price for these has appreciated. If this were in a retail shop today, it would easily sell for between $9,000 and $12,000.
Wow.
It's a lovely piece of glass.
My mom had wonderful taste.
It's something that I've had in my possession now about 35 to 40 years. I wanted to have some Tiffany if I possibly could, or something similar for my desk in the office. I've always followed Tiffany, and I have thought he's a remarkable individual, a great artist, as we all know, especially in colors. And about that time, something was in one of the antique articles, and they were mentioning an inkwell that they thought was somewhere around 1915 to 1920. It was a reasonable price at that time, and so I ended up having it sent to me.
Around 1900, Tiffany Studios rolled out a beautiful line of handcrafted desk accessories. Things like inkwells, blotter ends, pen trays, and stamp boxes. These pieces were designed to look right at home alongside Tiffany's iconic lamps and bronze work, giving even an ordinary writing desk a touch of luxury. The inkwells were made using Favril glass, the technique Tiffany patented in 1894. Instead of painting color on the surface, the color was mixed directly into the molten glass. That's what gave Favril its trademark shimmer, those iridescent tones that shift and glow as the light moves across them. These inkwells came in rich golds, ambers, blues, and greens, each one hand-blown and slightly unique. Some were smooth and spherical, but this particular example stands out with its ribbed body and patinated bronze mounts, which pair beautifully with the glass and add a refined, sculptural touch. Sold in Tiffany's New York showroom and upscale department stores, these inkwells weren't just functional objects. They were marketed as elegant finishing pieces for a well-appointed study or library.
Actually get them repatinaed
really?
and have them fixed so that they look brand new. On the bottom, you've got his ponto mark here, and then you've got an LCT, and then an H and a 3-digit number behind it, which shows this was an early piece. This would be something that would have been done around the turn of the century.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
so a little bit earlier than what you thought for it to be. If you don't mind, how much did you pay for the piece?
I think it was $600.
The Tiffany market is very, very wild right now. And we don't see these kinds of inkwells come up very often. I would say if this came up at auction, you would expect to see an estimate of $6,000 to $8,000. There's a pretty strong possibility that it would sell for even more money than that.
My mother-in-law gave it to me for Christmas of 95 or 96. We were living in Colorado at the time. She carried it out on a plane, and when I opened it on Christmas Day, there was a note with it that just said, "I think this might be good." Other than that, she just smiled. She got this little smile on her face. They had never told me anything else about it. And unfortunately, she died in 1998, so there's no way I can ask her anything about this now.
In the mid-1880s, Emile Galle was moving away from traditional painted and enameled glass and beginning to explore the experimental techniques that would later define the Nancy School and establish his international reputation. During this formative period, his Nancy workshop produced finely blown vessels adorned with hand-painted enamel, acid-etched botanical designs, and delicate applied details, all hallmarks of Galle's early artistic language. This highly decorated picture, dating from the very beginning of his career, is a testament to that emerging mastery. A close examination reveals a beautifully executed medallion depicting a full-figured knight on horseback, framed by richly enameled ornament inspired by Persian decorative arts. Today, early works by Emile Galle are especially prized for their painterly surfaces, refined craftsmanship, and the glimpse they offer into the development of one of Art Nouveau's most celebrated glassmakers.
There's like a shelf up very, very high. It takes a ladder to get up there, so I put it up there.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom, and then I had to blow dust out of it and to bring it here.
Well, it's worth $8,000 to $10,000 retail.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. It's a wonderful piece.
I can't believe this. I mean,
I'm just thrilled for you. Thrilled for you.
I really, really can't believe it. Guess it won't stay in the bathroom anymore.
They belong to a good friend of mine who passed away 3 years ago in 2005, and he left them to me.
While Louis Comfort Tiffany is best known for his naturalistic floral designs, his geometric lamps reveal another side of his studio, one that highlights formal harmony, thoughtful color theory, and incredibly precise craftsmanship. These striking lamps often feature richly opalescent or mottled glass in shades of green, amber, gold, blue, and deep olive, all carefully chosen so the entire shade seems to glow from within. And unlike Tiffany's floral shades, which intentionally mimic the irregular beauty of nature, his geometric designs celebrate symmetry, structure, and balance. Their bronze bases tend to be elegant and restrained, giving the vibrant glasswork room to shine. Dating to around 1905, the Tiffany geometric lamps shown here would have blended beautifully into the interiors of the time. Whether placed in a warm, wood-paneled craftsman home or a more formal Victorian drawing room, these lamps were among Tiffany's most popular and adaptable creations, pieces that brought both artistry and atmosphere to any space.
I'm not exactly sure what Tiffany called it. I actually think that both of these lamps are on the early side, circa 1905. One of the reasons why is that the big shade, the glass is a very transparent glass, and at the time when people were first using electricity or even using fuel, in order to get any light, the glass had to be very transparent. This lamp, I also think, is early. The reason I know that is, I'm going to take the cap off, or the heat finial, some people call it that also. The signature says Tiffany Studios, New York. It then bears a number with a dash. In the old days, certain people had speculated that that meant that the shade was a special order, but now scholars are tending to believe that it meant that it's an early lamp. This has particularly beautiful, beautiful glass in it, as does that lamp. I'm going to put this down for a second, and I just want to point out, clearly these sockets have been replaced a while ago, but nevertheless, they're not original Tiffany sockets. The other thing is on both of these lamps, a lot of times these get lost, but these are the originals, which is a very nice bonus to have. And even the original caps have a lot of value today.
Really?
On this lamp, It's on a senior floor base. It's decorated. There were two kinds of decorated senior floor bases. There's this one, and then there was a pod decorated base. That one's a little more desirable, but there's nothing wrong with this. It has wonderful finish on it. It matches the shade beautifully. And I also wanted to point out this little signature tag here. That's actually a very early tag also. A lamp like this, I would recommend putting an insurance value of $85,000. And on this one, I would put an insurance value of $45,000.
Okay.
They're both very nice examples, and I'm delighted to see them.
Great.
I inherited it from a friend. It's a cold air return, which is supposedly out of the Henry O. Havemeyer house in Brooklyn, New York.
Cold air return covers, typically a purely functional element of a home's ventilation system, were transformed into objects of art by Tiffany Studios in upscale Gilded Age residences. By 1880, as Tiffany Studios expanded beyond stained glass windows into architectural metalwork, lighting, and interior furnishings, they began producing these covers with an artistic sensibility. Many featured a combination of Tiffany glass and chainmail-style metalwork, linked together in visually striking compositions. The hand-finished detailing ensured that each cover complemented its surrounding decor, blending utility with aesthetic sophistication. Today, Tiffany cold air return covers are rare and historically significant, standing as early examples of the studio's dedication to marrying function with artistry.
The piece. This is like a Tiffany artifact, and collectors are very excited when they can have pieces like this. And there are few and far between. If this were to sell in a retail shop, it could easily sell for between $45,000 and $50,000.
Really?
Yes, really.
Really?
Yes. So I would love to know how you got this.
My grandfather was a superintendent of the grounds at an estate in Gloucester, Massachusetts at Eastern Point. And this apparently came from the estate. I don't know when, but somehow he got it.
This is a Tiffany Studios inverted hanging shade, produced during the early peak of the studio's Art Nouveau period. Unlike conventional lamps that rest on a base, these inverted shades were designed to hang from ceilings, providing both ambient light and decorative artistry for upscale interiors. Crafted from Tiffany's signature Favrila glass, the shade showcases vibrant color, luminous depth, and a soft, glowing quality that became the hallmark of the studio's work. A defining feature of this example is its geometric design, with individually cut glass pieces soldered together in lead, creating a dynamic interplay of light and color. Today, inverted Tiffany hanging shades are exceptionally rare and highly prized by collectors and museums alike.
Yeah. This was probably a custom-made piece for the mansion.
Yeah.
This, based on the glass and the fact that it isn't signed, makes me think that it was made between 1900 and 1902. One of the great things about the shade is the way it's constructed, and I think one of the reasons it's survived as long as it has is on the interior it has these wonderful support fins.
Yeah.
And in typical Tiffany fashion, they are placed in such a way that they are not obscuring any part of the glass, but yet it lends the support to the shade.
Yeah.
They follow like the lines here, and then when it gets here, it zigzags over here and moves this way where the hook was placed. So it was very artfully done. And that's the thing about Tiffany. The attention to detail points in every direction that this was made by Tiffany.
Oh, wow. Even with no signature.
I love when you ask that. Because most of the fake Tiffany out there is signed.
Oh.
But there's a tremendous amount of early shades that are not signed.
Oh.
But the way they're made, the kind of glass that is used, the design, those are the signatures.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So I'm glad it's not signed.
Yeah, I'm happier that it's unsigned because it really confirms the date when it was made. And it's got Tiffany all over it for me. Something like this in a retail setting could be priced anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000. Good to know.
Belonged to my great-grandmother, who was a New Yorker. She lived in Dobbs Ferry and then would winter in Manhattan, staying at the Waldorf. It was handed down from her to my grandmother and then to me.
Louis Comfort Tiffany Furnace's ink was closely tied to Tiffany himself, supporting his innovations in glass-making during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This formal business entity enabled the production of high-quality decorative glass and artistic lamps, building on the earlier accomplishments of Tiffany Studios. What makes this vase particularly notable is its one-of-a-kind shape, reflecting Tiffany's dedication to individuality and artistic expression. Crafted from cased glass, it features a brownish cherry interior with a matte, agate-like exterior finish. A signature on the underside dates the piece to 1926, during the final decade of Tiffany Studios, when Louis Comfort Tiffany was increasingly focused on large architectural commissions and bespoke decorative objects rather than mass production.
Cherry color, and then the exterior that's sort of peeking out underneath this matte finish decoration appears to almost be like an agate finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it because it looked like pottery, but it was glass.
Everything that Tiffany made was a luxury item. This is art glass. It's not meant to be used as a vase.
Mm-hmm.
Flowers are not meant to go into it.
I've never put flowers in it. I've been too afraid of it.
In a retail venue, I could see this selling for between $30,000 and $50,000.
Oh my God. Wow. Wow, I had no idea.
I think it's really lucky that you were named Tiffany.
Not after the jewelry store, after the family dog that was named after the jewelry store, so.
It really is a gem.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
My mother found this in the late 60s. There was a little neighborhood newspaper flyer, and she read that there was a glass lamp for sale. And my mother saw it, knew what it was.
And the woman, she also knew what it was. It had belonged to her grandfather. And she had moved into a very small studio apartment, and it was just too large. And my mother asked her, well...
The rose helmet lamp is a celebrated example of Louis Comfort Tiffany's mastery of Art Nouveau lighting, and it draws inspiration from the helmet-shaped bloom of the rose, capturing its gracefully drooping form and layered petals. Its hand-cut Favril glass petals were carefully selected for color and translucency, producing a soft, luminous glow when the lamp is illuminated. Beneath the shade, the gold leading expertly holds the Favril glass pieces together, showcasing Tiffany's meticulous craftsmanship. Supporting the helmet-shaped shade is a stunning Art Nouveau-inspired base, featuring the iconic arc and leaf design. Stylized leaf forms encircle the base's edge and repeat in subtly varied patterns as they ascend toward the top. Today, the rose helmet lamp is highly sought after by collectors for its artistic realism, intricate design, and masterful use of Favril glass.
Is really unusual. I can count on one hand how many times I've seen this base. It's so unusual. This is a situation where the base is almost as great as the shade. These were always luxury items when Tiffany was making them. You would find them in the homes of many of the people who belonged to New York society. This lamp probably cost in the neighborhood of maybe at least $200 to buy, and that was a lot of money in 1905. Absolutely.
The woman who was selling it, because she did know it was a Tiffany, she had taken it into two dealers in her area.
Right.
And the one dealer looked at it and she said, it's not a Tiffany, it's the wrong finish on the base.
Okay.
And so she was turned around by two different dealers.
Okay, well, that's okay. This is called the etched doré finish. It's as right as rain. There's just, everything is beautiful about this lamp. So now let me just give you the good news. This lamp is worth between $80,000 and $125,000. Mom had a good eye. Congratulations. I had have to give you guys a hug. Isn't it great to get news? Oh, you're so cute. That's great. Wow.
I bought it in the late 60s in Los Angeles from an antique dealer. In fact, I still have the receipt.
Really? Now, do you remember what year?
I believe it was 1967.
1967. What did you pay for it?
$130 plus tax.
Although this Handel lamp might look like a leaded glass piece at first glance, it's actually a cattail lamp, a wonderful example of the Handel Company's early 20th century style of hand-painted and reverse-painted glass lighting. The Handel Company, founded in Meriden, Connecticut, was one of Tiffany Studio's strongest competitors, but instead of using leaded glass like Tiffany, Handel leaned into something different. Rich, painterly surfaces created by skilled artists working directly on the glass. The cattail motif was hugely popular in American decorative arts at the time. On lamps like this, you'll see tall, elegant cattail reeds painted in layered, reverse-painted strokes, set against backgrounds that feel like marshy sunsets, quiet ponds, or soft moonlit water. Scenes that almost seem to move when the lamp is lit. These effects weren't accidents. Handel employed talented studio artists, many with fine art training, who brought a painter's touch to every shade. It's that blend of artistry and atmosphere that makes Handel lamps so captivating to collectors today.
However, when you take off the shade, you don't see any of the leading on this side. Instead, what you see are these large pieces of glass that are held into place with the same metal overlay that's folded over to secure it. Now, you're probably wondering, how did the color get here? Because these are not individually colored pieces of glass. This was a colored finish that was put on underneath the metal overlay. I talked to my colleagues at the glass table, and we feel that if this were to sell in a gallery, it would sell between $10,000 and $12,000.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh, Lord!
You held on to it,
Oh
and you've got a real gem.
I am just shocked.
My family acquired this through my great aunts and uncle that lived in Norwalk. And when Tiffany factory shut down, what we have heard is that they bought 2 barrels of Tiffany. So there's a large collection. This is just part of it. And we have divided it among our family, my sisters and myself. And I have brought in 4 pieces that I really love.
Louis Comfort Tiffany believed that glass should look painted without ever touching a paintbrush. To make that happen, he and his artisans experimented endlessly, finding ways to build color, texture, and even movement directly into the molten glass. That philosophy led to some of the biggest breakthroughs in American art glass, one of them being the paperweight vase you see here, with its beautifully heavy, transparent body. Inside, delicate vines trail gracefully through the glass, with purple stems and white flowers suspended as if frozen in time. This group also includes a Tiffany glass plate and bowl from around 1920. They're made of paperweight pastel glass and decorated with soft pink morning glories, giving them that dreamy, luminous quality Tiffany collectors love. And then there's the flower form vase, produced mainly between 1900 and the early 1920s. These pieces show Tiffany at his most inspired. He didn't just want to represent flowers, he wanted the glass itself to act like one. His artisans studied real plants, translating their curves into slender, pulled necks, flaring rims, and edges that gather just like petals opening to the light. It's this blend of artistry, innovation, and pure fascination with nature that makes Tiffany glass so unforgettable.
Do you have any idea what your family might have paid for those barrels of glass?
I have no idea. And they were school teachers, so I doubt that there was a lot sunk into it.
I would say that this particular piece I would put a value of $4,000 to $5,000 on it. This piece, I would say $5,000 to $7,000. This piece, $6,000 to $8,000. And this piece, $25,000 to $30,000.
Wonderful.
So the total for the group ranges from $40,000 to $50,000 retail.
That's lovely. They're beautiful.
Found this beautiful mirror in a yard sale in Hurley, New Mexico. I didn't find any marks on it.
Do you know what it's made of?
No, my guess was maybe copper and maybe some mother pearl.
What did you pay for this?
$2.
The peacock mirror is part of Tiffany's luxurious line of desk accessories and personal objects, a collection that also included jewel boxes, candlesticks, and inkstands. These weren't just practical items. They were meant to elevate the look of early 20th century homes with a touch of elegance and artistry. Like many of Tiffany's creations, this mirror draws inspiration straight from nature. Tiffany had a particular fascination with birds, and the peacock, symbolizing beauty, exoticism, and pure opulence, became one of his signature motifs. The frame is crafted from chased bronze, with peacock feathers flowing around the mirror in beautifully sculpted detail. In this example, artisans added touches of enamel, Favril glass, and textured bronze to capture that familiar iridescent shimmer you see in real peacock plumage. Today, well-preserved peacock mirrors from Tiffany studios show up in museum displays and top-tier auctions, admired not just as functional objects, but as sculptural works of art showcasing Tiffany's unmatched craftsmanship.
It's really very special. It is actually signed. It's on the back here. There's a little Tiffany Studios, New York, stamped on the side. And it's finished in this great green-brown finish. You have the original beveled mirror inset in here, and it has lost some of the silvering behind it, but I would never recommend changing it. How long ago did you purchase this?
I bought it 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. That's amazing. Do you go to yard sales all the time?
All the time.
Well, something like this could sell in a shop for $25,000.
My God, I had no idea it would.
Well, it's a really wonderful example. Thank you for bringing it in.
Okay, thank you very much. I had no idea when I bought it. I just loved it.
This lamp was my paternal grandfather's. He was an Irish immigrant and he worked in New York City at, I think, Tiffany Studios. I inherited this lamp in 2017. Now it's my treasure.
By 1915, Tiffany Studios was creating some of its most refined and architecturally styled lighting. Floor lamps from this period typically featured patinated bronze bases with tall, graceful shafts, topped with either blown Favril glass or leaded glass shades. Design sensibilities were shifting, and Tiffany's work reflected this evolution. The studio's lighting from these years moved toward more geometric, streamlined Art Nouveau forms, an aesthetic transition away from the lavish naturalism that had defined Tiffany's earlier decades. The example shown here includes a subtle departure from the studio's usual approach. Rather than employing Favril glass, the lamp features a standard leaded glass shade paired with a bronze base designed in a stylized Greek motif. These lamps were marketed to affluent households and public interiors, where their warm, diffused illumination and sculptural presence served both functional and decorative roles, reinforcing Tiffany's reputation for artistic utility. Today, they remain enduring symbols of the studio's late-period creativity, sophistication, and masterful craftsmanship.
The Tiffany lamps that were being sold were always luxury items, and they were expensive. The average worker couldn't really afford them. And they would be listed in catalogs. They came in different finishes. So you could get a brown-green finish on it, but if you opted to go for a gold finish, then there was an additional 25% on top of the cost of the lamp. It's bronze, but it's gold-plated. They only use the finest materials at Tiffany Studios.
Oh, that's wonderful.
This has an acid etch finish. That's why you see this modeling on the surface, and the shade could easily have been sold separately. In a retail venue, this would sell for between $10,000 and $15,000.
That's exciting. That's so cool.
I got it from my father-in-law, who got it from his best friend that got it in Rome. He was there for about a year making a movie in the 60s. He was a screenwriter. And so he brought this home, and then I saw it at his house one day. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And so one day my husband came home with it and said, my dad said give you this. And so I was like, oh.
Italian micromosaics from around 1870 represent the pinnacle of a revered Roman craft that captivated travelers and collectors throughout the 19th century. This technique, known as mosaic work in minute tesserae, employed thousands of tiny glass pieces, often no larger than a grain of sand, to compose images of remarkable detail and vibrancy. By the mid-19th century, micromosaic jewelry and decorative objects had become closely associated with the grand tour, the cultural rite of passage during which affluent Europeans and Americans visited Rome and acquired these intricate works as elegant souvenirs. In this example, the central panel is composed of countless colored glass tesserae, framed by black slate and a band of malachite. The scene depicts the Roman Forum, capturing the heart of daily life in ancient Rome with meticulous precision. Today, 19th century micromosaics are celebrated for their extraordinary craftsmanship, luminous color, and historical significance as enduring artifacts of the Grand Tour tradition.
Many of these in the period were sold with frames, and I suspect originally this may have had a gilt wood frame.
Oh, that would be pretty.
There were a number of workshops that produced pieces like this. One of the most notable is the Vatican workshop. And looking at the quality of the tesserae pieces here, the colors of the glass, the intricacy of the panel, it's quite possible that this was done by the Vatican workshops. We would need to do some more research to confirm that.
Okay.
Were this to come up in a well-advertised auction, I would expect it to bring between $7,000 and $10,000.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I love it.
We went to a country auction less than a year ago, and this is the only thing I was waiting for the whole auction, and it was like the end of the day. There was me and this one lady that was bidding on it, and I kept bidding, and she bid, and she finally gave up. And it was like $40.
Vistosi, the Murano-based glass company founded in the 1940s, quickly gained a reputation for innovative collaborations with designers who infused modernist aesthetics into traditional Venetian glassmaking techniques. By the early 1960s, Italian design had become a global touchstone for modernism. Vistosi worked with emerging designers, such as Piano, to create decorative art objects that appealed to both domestic and international collectors. Building on centuries of Murano glassmaking expertise, these collaborations reimagined traditional techniques through a contemporary lens, producing works that were at once artisanal and modern. The example shown here, a blown glass bird, epitomizes the mid-century fascination with minimalist, biomorphic forms, combining playful elegance with sophisticated craftsmanship.
It's a very sought-after piece. People love this.
Really?
Because there's such a strong interest in mid-century design. This piece in a retail venue today would sell for between $7,000 and $9,000.
You are kidding.
I'm not.
Oh my goodness. I'm stunned.